Welcome back to Wisconsin Tonight. As we've been telling you, pressure is on Paul Ryan to run for Speaker.
Charles Benson talked with NBC's Chuck Todd this afternoon about why Ryan is now giving this some serious thought.
Chuck Todd, thank you very much for joining us. Let's jump right into it. The Speaker speculation and the talk about Paul Ryan. Late today, a spokesperson issuing a statement saying that he appreciates all the support, but he's still not running. Is he?
Yeah, it's in present tense. Always realize that it's in present tense. He is still not running. That is factually correct. That doesn't mean he won't eventually run. Here's what my sources have been telling me about Ryan. He is at least listening to the draft movement, okay? It is clear he is sort of the one guy that all parts of the Republican conference believe can unite the place and bring some stability to the job. He's gone home for the weekend. He's going to talk about it with his wife. He's trying to negotiate the idea that if he agrees to do this, if he can farm out some of the responsibilities that would cause him to have to travel. So he doesn't want to be traveling every weekend raising money. Will somebody else pick up that slack and he handles the Washington aspect of the job? That's where this stands right now. He hasn't said he would do it if he can do it on those terms, but he's at least feeling it out to see if that's a possibility. And I think that that's where we stand for the next 72 hours.
Yeah, so I was with him a week ago. He's holding one of those listening sessions. This came up. Hey, are you going to run for Speaker? At that time, McCarthy looked like the guy, and that's the guy that Paul Ryan was supporting. But things have changed. And so what you're saying is that if he takes this job, he's going to have to be talked into it?
That's right, and that's what it's been going on. Mitt Romney has called him. John Boehner has begged him multiple times. Kevin McCarthy has. Some from the conservative end of the spectrum as well. His arm is being twisted so much, I assume he's going to need a sling, I think, by the time he comes back to Washington. But he will, if he agrees to do it, it's reluctantly, and my guess is it'll be temporarily.
All right, Chuck, as you and I know, Paul Ryan is a numbers guy. He loves policy. He hates politics. At the end of the day, isn't this job still not part of his DNA?
No, it's not. And I think that's why the only scenario he does this is if, number one, everybody realizes it's something he would simply do through the election. Number two, that he wouldn't have to do the travel and the fundraising. And number three, that he would be able to go back to being Ways and Means Chair. And I think that's all. My guess is there's so much of a desperation to bring stability to the place that I think if those are his terms and he's willing to do it on those terms, it'll happen.
All right, so let's say he does take it. He still deals with all the other problems that Boehner was dealing with, that McCarthy would have to deal with, that the conservatives are sort of pushing this agenda that is making life very difficult for whoever gets the job.
Well, but I think he's proven more adept rhetorically at selling things that aren't popular. Look, he cut a deal with Patty Murray, Democratic senator, when they were forced to come up to avoid or end that last budget showdown that they had back in 2013. They have this special committee, and they did it. And they came up, and it was something that the left didn't like, something that the right, and he sold it. I just think he has enough. Do I think he could succeed long-term in this job without ending up the way Boehner is? No. Do I think he could do it for 18 months and not have his long-term future ended politically? Yes.
You know, Chuck, when Paul Ryan was asked this question a week ago, one of his standard responses to it is that he loves being in a tree stand over the weekend and spending time with his children. My guess, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is that he'll be spending more time in a tree stand this weekend because it is the bow deer season, and I think it's also the weekend that children can hunt with their parents. And so my guess is he'll be spending more time in a tree stand than on the phone this weekend.
I think he's going to be in a tree stand, and my guess is if he has his way, he won't have his phone with him, almost for the very purpose so that he doesn't have to take the calls. Look, I think he would. I can tell you something he's working on. He's trying to come up with an alternative idea, but he also is somebody. I mean, I'm told the chairman of the party, Reince Priebus, who of course is also a Wisconsin native, he's now lobbying Ryan to do this. So at the end of the day, Ryan is a put party first kind of guy, and if it's put in those terms, This is the only way to give the Republicans a shot at holding the Senate and keeping the presidency. Because every day that the House Republican Conference is unstable and is dominating the headlines is a bad day for the Republican Party and is one more day that they have lost in their attempt to contrast themselves with the Democrats.
Chuck Todd, as always, we appreciate your insight.
You got it, buddy.
Charles Benson and Chuck Todd earlier this afternoon.